Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Prep 5, Part 2. So here we're going to look at creating histograms again, or something that looks very much like a histogram, but this time from pivot tables. And the reason that we want to do this is because we actually want to capture the data in a table. And as we saw in the last unit with histograms, or the last video, you can't actually capture the individual data points. You can see them in the graph, but you can't capture them in a table. So we're going to start out by making a pivot table this time. Now, the unit's going to start exactly the same way as we did 5010 histogram, where we capture these statistics here. I'm not going to do that again. You can go back to that unit and do it because it's going to be exactly the same. But we are going to come down here and create this pivot table. And here's how we do it. You click here inside your data, and then from the insert menu, pick pivot table. Remember to always click in the table range box before you click where you want the pivot table to go. And now, if you look here, it looks like salary is going to be in the rows, and then count of ID is going to be in the sum values. So let's grab salary, throw that in rows, and you'll notice here that we don't get these salary ranges. They're all clumped up together. Not exactly what we want. We want them in ranges. And you'll notice the range goes here from 18,000 to just under 22,000. So basically it's a $4,000 range. So the way that we get that to happen is we simply go to group selection here, and we start out with 18,000 and end with the last number here. Looks like it's 78,000. And then we indicate that those are going to be 4,000 increments, and that creates the range. All right, so that's all in good shape. Now we'll move ID to the sum values box, but we actually don't want sum of ID, we want a count of ID, so we'll change that to a count. The word row labels here, salary would be better. The easiest way to get that to change is to change the report layout to outline form. And now we are going to create a graph off of this pivot table. So we go back to the pivot table analyze tab and create a pivot chart, and it nails it, gets the right chart. So move that down underneath our other chart. Resize, eliminate the legend, because if you only have one data series, what's the point in having a legend? Because you can actually capture what would be in the legend in the chart title. So I'll say 50-10 salary distribution. Okay. So now let's come up here and answer the questions. We are going to have support for the target just like we did before, because it's effectively the same data. The graph type, remember, is a column chart. It looks like a histogram, but it's actually not. The graph type that is a column chart, which is kind of standing in as a histogram. Number of data series is 1 again, and the graph title is 50-10 salary distribution. None and none. Let's do some grading, and it all looks good, and then you'll do that part up there as well. Okay, on to 52. So the 52 is going to be just like the 52 histogram as far as these pieces up here. And now we have to create a pivot table. Now, what I want you to notice is the lowest number on the pivot table is significantly higher than the lowest number on the prior pivot table, because remember in 52, all of the salaries are clumped near, as you can see here, near the median value. So here we go. Insert pivot table, click, click, replace, and this sometimes happens when you've got multiple things open, they overlap, but that's not a problem. Just close one. Then we'll move salary here to rows. We'll group it. It looks like the groupings, okay, these are different this time. If we go to 45,500 to 46,500, so it looks like the groupings are about 1,000 apart, starting with 45,500 and ending with 54,500. So group selection, 45,500, 54,500, 1,000 apart. Okay, so now we're all set there. Go to the Design tab, change Report Layout to Outline Form, and now let's bring ID into the Sum Values box, but then change it to Account. So there it is in Sum Values, and we will change that to Account. Okay, looks like we're in good shape. Now we'll build a graph off this pivot table. Back to the Analyze tab, Pivot Chart. There's our chart. Resize, eliminate the legend, and change the chart title to match. 52 salary distribution. So as you can see, working with pivot tables is pretty quick to effectively create a histogram. And in our next video, we're going to create another histogram, this time using the formula. So a lot going on here.